One of my inspirations in life, I make dua that I get to meet him. My intention is to meet him in December, inshallah. His name is Dr. Fadil Salih al-Samarrai. He's an Iraqi gentleman. He's a scholar of the Quran. And he is very old. He's in his 80s at least. And he used to be pretty much a non-Muslim. He was raised in Iraq. He was part of the Communist Party, the Ba'athist Party at one point, back in the day. Yeah. And when he was there, he loved language. So he studied linguistics and Arabic, and Arab nationalism. So he studied Arabic under the banner of Arab nationalism, not because of Islam. And one of his interests was that he actually did not want to study the Quran. He wanted to study Arabic, but he did not want to study the Quran. He refused to study it. It's beneath him. Somebody eventually, and he used to, by the way, he was in charge of developing the Arabic curricula for high schools in Baghdad. He was in charge of the PhD program in Arabic studies and literature at the University of Baghdad. He was, high up. One of its PhD students challenged him and said, why don't you write a criticism of the Quran if you think you're above it? Why don't you write a linguistic criticism? So he did. He decided to write one. And when he did, he wrote a book called, the title of the book, Nubuwatu Muhammadin min ash-shakk ila al-yaqeen, the prophethood of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, my journey from doubt to conviction. In his process of writing the criticism against the Quran, he became a believer. I just recently got a copy of the book and I read through it, even though I've been reading his books for some time, and it's a book. That's a must read. Inshallah, hopefully one of my students will translate it. It's fascinating stuff from beginning to end, especially his introduction is awesome. It's awesome. But anyway, so now he became a fan of the Quran. And he's been studying language and he's mastered language for decades already, Arabic, but never applied it to the Quran. So I like to say he brought a fresh set of eyes to the Quran. Why? Because when people study Arabic, they study Arabic and Quran hand in hand. They study them together all the time. And when people get in-depth studies in Arabic, they usually do it because they're getting in-depth studies in the Quran. But this man studied Arabic in depth, not to access the Quran, but for Arabic itself. And eventually he applied what he learned to the Quran, so it was like he's looking at it from a different angle than everybody else. This has got a different perspective. And boy, is that a different perspective. He started writing book after book after book after book on what makes the Quran unique in its expression. Balaghatul Kalima, At-Ta'bir al-Qur'ani, several books, like 16 books under his name. And I read the first one and I was blown away. Then I read the second one, I was even more blown away. I read the third one, I was like, okay, this is crazy, I need to meet this man. I had enough. So hopefully, inshallah, he's actually, he used to have a TV show of his own in Shariqa. Some of you know about Lamasat Bayaniya. There are clips of it on YouTube. It's all in Arabic. It's amazing stuff. But he stopped the show. He went back to Baghdad, believe it or not, and he's a professor again. He's teaching. I tried to get him to come to the US, and he basically indirectly got word, and he said, I'm teaching. I'm busy. So I'm convinced him to come to Dubai at least in December, and I'm going to try to go to Dubai, and inshallah, hopefully hang out with him for 10 days. Bismillah. So make dua that happens. Really excited to do that. Okay, this is some excerpts from his book. This section is some pieces from his book. It's awesome stuff.